Hi guys!
Hello!
Today we're going to talk about
our horror story from our cruise. Our honeymoon cruise.
So, just like you heard in the last video, we went on a cruise for our honeymoon.
And we had a horrible time.
So, the day that was pretty bad for me, it was the last day at sea. So, we had a week-long cruise in the Caribbean out of Port Canaveral. It was a great cruise. The first day, we had to get our sea legs. The rest of the time was totally fine. And then the last day at sea, it was the day after Castaway Cay, I think?
Yes.
We had Castaway Cay. The next day was a day at sea. It was miserable. So you were awake already. I woke up and I could feel how...
There's a shock. I was up before you.
Yeah. I didn't know where he was, but he had messaged me in the app. And like he said, he was up at the pool deck. So I could tell everything was like really wobbly. I showered, washed my hair, so my hair was all wet. And I went up to the pool deck to meet him. I ate breakfast and then I met you. And sitting on the deck for 10 minutes, the pool, we were rocking so much, you could see the bottom of the pool. The water was just shifting. They had the net covering it, so the pool was closed. All like outdoor things on the ship were closed. And when we were just sitting there, we saw the captain walking around talking to the people who, like the lifeguards, like what they were going to do and how bad it should have been. And in that time, we actually stopped and we were like, "Is this supposed to be all day?" He goes, "Unfortunately, yes. It's like this is the worst I've ever seen it, and it's going to be like this all day."
It's pretty bad when you get the captain of the ship saying, "Yeah, it's probably the worst I've ever seen."
It was 15-foot waves. So we are severely rocking. You can just see it. Everyone's kind of walking around like, "Oh my God, I'm so sick." In the 10 minutes, now girls will understand this, my hair was wet, my hair was clean. In the 10 minutes being up on the pool deck, my hair was crispy and crunchy from all the salt in the air that's being tossed around from us rocking. I literally had to shower again. We decided that on one hand we were told go up to the top deck, you'll feel better. Then we were told go to a lower deck. So we stopped at guest services, we got some seasickness medication, and we took it, and we went back to the room. I showered again, and we laid in bed the rest of the day, watching movies. We ordered room service.
Yeah, like we said in our last video, which we'll link in here, literally the entire day, we literally stayed in bed watching Disney movies until we were completely out of the storm, getting room service like Amy just said,
Yeah.
So it was...
Except for like around 2 o'clock, we had a prearranged tour of the kitchen with the chef. We got up.
That's because I kept complaining about the food.
We'll get into that. We went down to, it was like out of Artist Palette, so it was like the second deck all the way in the back. So like the worst spot in the ship you could possibly be during this. And we go into the kitchen and we're literally holding on to things. We're holding on to the counters. And I've worked in kitchens before, so like when everything's clean, you don't really want to touch it. I didn't care. I was grabbing anything and everything I could just to stand up. And even the chef was like, "Yeah, I've worked on cruise ships for 15 years. This is the worst I've ever seen it."
Second person to tell us that.
And I'm just like, oh my God. So after that, we went right back up to our room, laid in bed again. And we were totally fine laying in bed watching movies. We felt 100% okay. It was just like when we got up out of bed, like anytime one of us had to go to the bathroom, we're like, "Oh, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it." So we watched movies all day. We went down for dinner. By dinner, it had calmed down a little bit, but it was still like so much that no one at our table could really eat a meal. I ordered off the kids menu because it was just smaller. You had already prearranged something, so you did eat that. Everybody else ordered something very, very light. Nothing that was going to sit in their stomach, but at the same time our waiters were like, no, you want something heavy. You want your stomach full. So that always that always confused me. You want your stomach to be full when you're seasick. You don't want to be full of like water.
Yeah, because everything sloshes around.
You feel everything slosh. The next day, when we woke up, it was totally fine. I mean, we woke up in port, but it was just like...
Well, that's why I was totally for it.
Did that really happen? It was like We got off, our legs felt like jello.
Actually, I didn't feel that bad getting off.
Oh my god, I had like the weirdest vertigo getting off the ship.
Yeah,
I think it was just because after that day, but that day it was like a wasted day at sea. We didn't do anything except lay in bed. I mean, it wasn't wasted.
Well, what are you going to do anyway? I mean, granted, there's stuff to do on the ship itself. I mean, you were just traveling from Castaway Cay back to Florida. Jeff, you going to say hello?
Hi. It was our favorite day of the whole honeymoon, though.
So, I know, I've said this in so many of our videos. My biggest gripe was the food. Overall, the ship itself, I got bored on the ship, and I know a lot of my cast member friends who watch this video will hate me for saying this, but there really wasn't much for me entertaining-wise to do.
So, backstory. Josh is the type of person on vacation where he's like, I gotta be doing something. I gotta know what I'm doing it, like very go, go, go. He's always go, go, go. I'm the type of person that I could do either or. I like a good combination of each, and the cruise was that for me. There were things that I could do, but not exert energy. I could sit by the pool.
You played bingo!
I could play bingo.
You played bingo like 3 times.
I did.
She had an addiction problem, I promise you.
I love bingo. So the cruise was great for me. I'm the type of person that I'm always on my phone. It's to the point that, like, I'll be in the car with my boss and I'll just be scrolling, talking to him, just to scroll. I
hope not while you're driving.
No, like, he's driving. Josh is not like that. He can separate himself from his phone. He can put the phone down. So, yeah. But, like, to me, if I don't have my phone, it's like, oh my god, what is happening? And
how did you survive before cell phones?
I got a cell phone in 6th grade. I don't have too much memory of life without cell phones.
Wow, do I feel old.
Yeah. For me, the cruise was amazing for the fact that I had to turn off my cell phone. I had no choice. I didn't have the option to scroll, which, like, now I want that so badly. I want to be in an area where I have no service and I have to disconnect. A cruise sounds great to me.
I could just show off your cell phone service. We'll call it a day.
No, let's not and say we didn't.
So again, my biggest gripe was the food. Like I've said in past videos, the same food that they serve at Disney World, they serve on the Disney cruise.
And it's not even great quality on the cruise. Like, it's
I mean, it's the same burgers, same fries, same steaks. When I go to Disney, I love eating around the world because I get to eat stuff that I can't eat anywhere else unless I go to those countries. I can eat a burger at home. I don't like eating the same foods over and over again, which is the reason why I actually stopped eating on the cruise. I lost weight. Yeah. Most people gain weight because it's all you can eat. I lost weight. I mean, it was so bad that we actually had the chef come out and talk to us because I wasn't eating at all. Actually, I think he actually came out because of something you got.
Yeah, I ordered, on the menu they had fried plantains, and Josh's mom makes fried plantains, and they're great. So I ordered them, but they came out plantain chips.
Yeah, okay. My mother is Spanish, so people who are watching this who are Spanish would understand. When you say like fried bananas, they're meaty bananas.
And they're chewy, they're soft.
And they're sweet, not hard, crispy, like potato chips almost.
Yeah.
Like if you were to have sweet potato chips, it was like that where it kind of has like that moldy whatever. No. Yeah. So I wound up, I pulled the waiter, I go, what is that? And then he's like, oh, those are fried bananas. I'm like, those are not fried bananas. Long story short, chef came out, I yelled at him for what he cooked. And then I said, you know what? No, there's more I got to talk to you about. Take a seat. So I sat him down and I started talking. And I'm not Italian, but you know how Italians start like talking with their hands? I got really involved talking and I was like this the entire time.
So your biggest gripe was definitely the food. Mine was that one day at sea.
No, well, that is my biggest gripe was the food. My other issue was it wasn't too much activity-wise to do as an adult.
Yes, as an adult.
So every time I kept asking a cast member, well, what can we do? What can we do? Oh, well, there's a nightclub for that. There's a bar for that.
We're not nightclub and bar people.
Our bedtime's 10 o'clock at night. We're the dull old people. I will admit to that.
And that's kind of why, like, I would totally try another cruise line.
No, I mean, I would go back to Disney
Well,
again.
I would go
try
back
it
to
again.
Disney with kids.
No, I would try Disney even before we have kids. I just would never do land and sea, ever. That I would not recommend.
Well, my thing is, I think you would get bored on the cruise ship.
No, I think I would still enjoy it because I still like the Disney magic of it. Not the boat, but the actual magic of it. And I like going to those ports.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool that, going to see those countries and lands that I've never saw before.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't mind going back on a Disney cruise. Granted, kids, no kids, I would still do it. Would I go on another cruise line? Probably. I will say this, after that cruise, I was so very bitter at the Disney Cruise Line and DVC.
Yeah.
So, after we got back, I called up DVC and I complained. And again, I told them flat out, I go, I'm not looking for a free vacation out of it. But I was very disappointed that no one at DVC was able to assist me in making my trip better for the next time. Meaning, again, we used our points. I wasn't looking for all of our points back, but give me something. Allow me to enjoy my next vacation, because inevitably, since we're DVC members, you have my money, Disney, so I'm not going anywhere, but my experience was not up to par.
Or let us talk to somebody higher up with the cruise line. Like, this is why we didn't have a good time.
No, I did talk to someone from the cruise line, but from the DVC side of the cruise line. So that still wasn't the problem. The guy who I talked to, I guess, thought I was asking for like a free vacation essence, and I really, really wasn't. After telling this entire story to one of my cast member friends, she just said probably what happened was the cast member probably interpreted what I was telling them as I wanted something like a free vacation out of it. And it really, really wasn't. Honestly, more so even just an apology. But they were just there saying, I'm sorry, there's not much we can do. I'm sorry, there's not much we can do. Where I feel if we were not DVC members and we were just average people, they probably, at minimum, would have called us and said, hey, listen, we're sorry for what happened, your experience, that what we have. I mean, even when we were on the cruise itself, I made complaints. I went down to guest services multiple times about the food, about there's nothing to do on the ship.
Every time we went down, I think the first time there was an issue where they tell you that you can meet Mickey in the port, and Captain Mickey in the port, and that's like the one thing Josh wanted to do.
The only thing I really wanted to do.
We got in line, and we were next in line, and Mickey was gone, and Minnie came out. We still took a picture with Minnie, but he wanted Captain Mickey. I know it's like such a weird thing to complain about, but like they literally advertised you can meet Mickey. So we went up that day. There were a few other things, but we went up to guest services and we were just like, hey, we don't want anything. We just want to let you know you should really look on this advertising because it's very, misleading. And they brought, I think it was like a bottle of wine and chocolate covered strawberries to our room. And then later on, we complained about something else. And again, we got like a dessert tray in our room. And it was like, okay, I get it's really easy to do. But like we literally said, please do not send us anything.
See, my thing is, and going back to the whole Mickey thing, is when you're in, when you're actually at the port itself and you're going onto the ship, Mickey takes photos with everyone, and they switched off Mickey for Minnie. Usually I wouldn't care, but Mickey's in his captain's uniform. So what they probably should have done was say, listen, give us a couple of minutes, Mickey's going to take a quick break, and he'll be right back out.
You got to check on the ship.
Got to check on the ship. Do something, but have Mickey come back out. I mean, I understand equal opportunity, Mickey and Minnie, and I know I'm an adult, but I wanted to meet Captain Mickey. I'm sorry, I did.
And we did meet Captain Mickey later on the ship.
Yeah, but that was like halfway through. I wanted to take...
Yeah.
Again, like, we'll insert a photo, but I wanted to take a photo before we got on the cruise. That was my biggest gripe.
After all this complaining, I do want to leave them with one highlight and one positive from the cruise.
What, free ice cream all day long?
No.
Really? Because that's one of my biggest best things.
That I never expected going on the cruise and didn't know it was a bucket list item until it happened. Was meeting my dear friend Scott. He is a DVC representative with the cruise lines, He also happens to voice the monorail. So
yeah, if you can't tell, every time we go to Disney and I'm always shooting the door and he says, please stand clear of the closing doors, and then he says it in Spanish.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
That's Amy's biggest thing.
So the story was it was the first day on the ship, and we saw there was a DVC
event, yeah.
And we're like, oh, we should go to that. We're new DVC members. This was our first DVC vacation. And we went. It turns out it was a sales pitch for Copper Creek, which was nice. It was nice seeing it. And they were offering special deals if you bought more points on the ship.
Which, by the way, if you're not a DVC member, I highly recommend going and actually buying points at Copper Creek. We stayed there, loved it. If you haven't seen our video yet, there should be an eye somewhere. Watch it. It is really a great resort.
It's amazing. So we sit down, we go through the whole thing, and the two representatives, Scott and somebody else, I will never remember her name because she's not important.
She's insignificant to us.
She introduced herself and how long she's been with Disney, and Scott said, I've been with Disney for a very long time. I think it was 30 years. He goes, my main role with Disney is I'm a voice actor for Disney.
And before he even said or did anything, he looked around the room to make sure that no one had their cell phones out.
And he goes on to say, you probably have all heard my voice. How many people have been on the monorail at Disney World? And I literally just grabbed Josh's leg, this is not happening. And he goes, yeah, that's me, and said, please stand clear of the closing doors. And I was like, all right, that's great and all. As long as he doesn't do the Spanish, we're in the clear. And then he goes, por favor, manténgase alejado de las puertas. And I was like...
She fangirled
I literally was sitting there what is happening? What is happening with my life? I could never have dreamed of that moment, to the point that Josh and I afterwards went up and talked to him. And I told him I had to get a picture with him.
She almost licked his face.
I was so excited.
I love you.
And we were not in the market for more points. We had just bought DVC a year and a half earlier. This was our first DVC trip. And mind you, this was our first DVC trip, but we were wiped out of points for 2 years.
Yeah.
Because we used all of our points.
Yeah, so we banked from the year beforehand, used that year, and borrowed from the year beforehand.
When Scott and the other girl mentioned that there was this deal and that they'll be on the ship all week and you can book a time to talk to them, we're like, well, I just want to book a time to talk to him, even if it's an hour of just talking.
We're not going to buy anything. We just want to talk.
So I don't know if I fell in love that day, but we talked in the next day, and I was this close to buying more points just from talking to him.
Just because it was him.
And he was telling us the story how one time he came across a fan. And now, if you're watching this and you're a fan of the monorail, it's a thing.
Oh yeah,
there's
it's
shirts,
huge.
There's hats.
Huge.
There's
actually,
me.
There is a shirt that we actually own.
Mm-hmm. And it's Disney character. It's Disney shirt. It's a Disney characters on the monorail. It says "Por favor, manténgase alejado de las puertas."
It's a thing.
People make their own shirts, and there's there's luggage checks. Please stand clear of my vacation. It's great. It's a whole thing. I want to get a doormat that says "Por favor, manténgase alejado de las puertas."
You can actually buy that. I've seen it on Facebook.
I know, but he was telling us how he met this guy his son is a fan of him, a fan of the monorail, and his son's overseas in Afghanistan or Iraq or somewhere overseas, and he basically he's copyrighted with Disney. He can't say that. It can't be recorded saying that.
Which is the reason why I said before no one had their cell phones out before he even said anything.
Man, I wish I had my phone out. And he recorded. He said something, but please stand clear. For your safety and thank you for serving our country. So he started it just a little bit but didn't finish the line.
His son was a huge fan.
And that oh my god, if he wasn't my soulmate already, that was the greatest day of my entire life. Sorry, wasn't our wedding. It was meeting Scott the monorail guy. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching.
Hope you guys enjoyed our horrible time that we had on the cruise. But I will say this, we will go back on.
Yeah.
I don't know when though.
We may have a trip announcement coming up as well, so stay tuned. Subscribe to this channel because we'll definitely vlog that next trip as well.
Yeah, make sure you hit the bell. Leave a comment below if you're curious. If anyone has any suggestions of where you think we may be going next. I will say this though, it's not Disney World.
It's not Disney World. Leave your guesses down below. I want to see who guesses it right because we're not going to Disney World. It's going to be one of the furthest vacations I think we've taken together.
I would say yes.
Yeah, it definitely is our furthest vacation we've taken together.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. That should be an upcoming video. I don't know if it'll be our next, but it'll be soon. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and
See you real soon.